दिल्ली में आपका स्वागत.
ನಿಲ್ದಾಣದ ಕಡೆಗೆ ಹೊರಟಿರುವರೆ ಚೆನ್ನೈ
एक्सप्रेस रेलवे स्टेशन नेताजी
All the teams are done with one game each in the 18th edition of the IPL. The bowlers are having nightmares. The batters are living the dream, and the spectators have been extremely busy doing catch practice because everything is flying across that boundary rope. But is that what we're going to see today when Rajasthan take on RR in Guwahati? Hello and welcome to Voltas FreshAir Coolers presents Cricbuzz Live. I'm Saiyami Kher. Talking about the big hits, we've got a pair which is a big hit amongst all the fans. Like I said, not only cricket fans, but also the sneakerheads. We've got Harsha Bhogle and Simon Doull in the house.
No, there's a big difference.
The price tag.
The price tag is one. Second, Dooley at last count stopped counting when he got to 120 pairs of shoes.
But you've travelled with what, 9 pairs?
No. I'm only here for 3 days, so 3 pairs.
See? You know, I was so scared with your intro. I suddenly started looking at him. You said big hits. I thought you were talking about 2 big hitters in the ball.
No, you all are the big hits.
You can never have too many pairs of shoes, Salmi. It is an unwritten rule. You can never have too many pairs of shoes.
Mr. Bhogle has learned from you. I haven't, but you have to see his sneaker game.
I know. He has upped his sneaker game massively.
last
I
year.
only just got into double figures. Dooley is way into triple figures.
Well, we don't know how many pairs of shoes. You're still in single digits.
With Dooley, it depends on whether he does the PSL or no. If he does the PSL, he comes back with another 20.
Yes. But I don't know about pair of shoes, but we know that there's going to be no single digits in that batting card because we are just seeing 6s and 4s. We spoke about this yesterday. I want to understand one thing because the batters are using bowlers like ATM machines. They're going and withdrawing runs at will. But what is a safe score? What does one do?
I mean, we thought yesterday 240. You said, 240. And there was a difference of 11 runs yesterday from a team that didn't seem in control at all times. We saw another game where there was 60 for 5. And from there, a total was chased down. So we have no idea what a good score is. Hopefully in Guwahati, there'll be a little bit more. I mean, on the app, they're saying, right, they've seen Moeen Ali get a cap, so maybe there's something in the track. Hopefully, because the bowlers need some support somewhere.
Well, we go to the bowler because it's really a nightmare for the bowlers. You know, the new rule of using the saliva that's come on, but the bowlers' mouths have gone dry and there's no saliva because they look at that pitch and they say, what do we do?
Yeah, it's been tough. Got to find a way. I thought Vaishak was really good in his plans, and whether that's a team plan. This is last night I'm talking about. You accept wides because you're taking away one side of the ground, and he accepted that was what he was meant to do, and you accept that a few were going to go for a wide, but he gave away only 2 boundaries. Yeah. And that was superb bowling, I thought, at the back end last night. So you've just got to find a way. Look, the game is not going to finish just because you're having a tough day. You have to find a way. And as a bowler, you've got to get your head around the simple fact that if you go for under 45, you've had a really good day.
So that's the new normal then?
Well, in some circumstances, you know, whether you're playing at Hyderabad, maybe. When you're playing at Bangalore, maybe. You know, so there's going to be some grounds where that might be the case. There might be some grounds throughout the tournament. We haven't seen them all yet. That maybe it can come down a bit. Maybe the scores won't be as big. But the impact sub from a batting point of view has made a big difference. And as a bowling unit or a bowler, you just have to get your head around the fact that you will go for runs.
Is it just pace off that they have to look at and variations? That's something Michael said yesterday.
How can you close down one side of the ground? Now, when you've got 2 sides that are even, that's a very difficult thing to do. What sort of batter am I up against? Is he a stronger leg side batter than he is an offside batter? How can I close him down? Just make sure he hits one side of the ground only, which is what they tried to do yesterday with Shafane Rutherford, was just take him wide and say, we don't feel you're as prolific going there and over the offside as you are when you get power into it going on the onside. So how can we shut down one side of the ground only and try and stop those boundaries on that side and see if we can go for 9, 10 and over instead of 14, 15, 16. And that's the way. But from a bowling coaching point of view, from a bowler's point of view, you just have to understand that you've got to get your head around it. If you don't, you'll continue to travel, you'll continue to kick the grass, blame the line, blame someone else, blame the ball, blame the groundsman because it's too flat, and you won't have a good day.
Yeah, but Harsha, we spoke about this yesterday. This is the bowler speaking, but for batters, it's just been paradise because we see the strike rates climbing up. You see this graphic here. It just keeps going higher and higher every year. When is it going to stop?
And that's after the first round. Look at the number of sixes. 87 to 119. There's no comparison. Look at the boundary percentage in the power play. That's gone from 23 to 32. Power play strike rate is 178. We discussed yesterday about how we're almost getting numb with numbers. And you talked about saliva. It's the batters who've got it because their mouths are watering, looking at everything. Yeah. So, as Simon said, you've got to find a way. There's a new metric now. You know, every 2 or 3 years, you redefine what is a good economy rate. So you looked at Bumrah and said 6.5, wow. Sunil Narine, 6.5, wow. I think 8 is wow. If you can go 9, not bad at all because 9 is 180. How many 180 games do you get? I mean, hopefully
it's
we will.
Suddenly a low-scoring game now, 180.
Yeah. But 180 is a good game.
Yes.
I think you'll get a lot of those in Chennai. I'd like to see what we get here in Guwahati. Again, it's not the biggest of grounds. So I'd like to see what we get. But I'd like to see some venues being a bit different and giving you 180. Then if you go to Hyderabad and you get a 250 game, that's okay. If in some other venues you're getting a 170, that evens things.
And what I don't want to see is the batters complaining when it starts turning from ball one.
Correct.
Because they've had it, you know, they have it their own way so often. All of a sudden, if you do happen to go to Chennai and they want to say, well, look, you know, we're going to play 3 spinners, might play 4 spinners, and it starts to turn from ball one, then the batters all of a sudden, oh, it's a rubbish pitch, we can't play on it. Just because you're not on a road.
We've seen tournaments recently where 4 spinners were used.
Yeah, well, it's true.
But I'm seeing an emotional Simon Doull because he's almost feeling for the bowlers, saying that one pitch which turns a little bit and the batters cry and complain. So I can see emotional.
What I thought last night, though, I thought, you know, when Rabada got it right, there was some pace and bounce in that pitch. So if they got their line and their length right last night, it didn't necessarily mean you went for runs. You could actually set a field last night. I thought there was some poor bowling, there's some great batting and some quality hitting. But if you just hit a good line and length last night, that surface had enough in it, I thought.
There's one ball, Doull, you would have thought you're seeing a test match. He bowled to Shreyas Iyer.
Yeah.
Bowled beautiful length, just left him, and he was sort of caught
and
in
the keeper
between.
caught it going up,
up there.
It was rising high. But, well, we've got some big news from the ground. Well, KKR have won the toss. They've decided to bowl first. But the big news coming in is their star, Sunil Narine, is not playing today. He's unwell, which probably...
So that's why Moeen Ali, it's not that he's replacing
Getting
a fast
Spencer,
bowler. So they're looking at... Okay.
But that is a big blow to start with.
Maybe a little more batting, little less bowling, you think, with Moeen Ali?
Well, and where do they bat him? Does he open the batting?
4,
I don't mind him right at the top.
Yeah.
Don't
CSK
mind him.
used him there.
Yeah.
Yes.
And I think it's one of his better places. And it doesn't upset the sort of team dynamic. Everyone else can stay in their normal spots. Moeen can go to the top. He can still bowl. I mean, he might be even a better option inside the power play, which Narine tends not to want to do. So, he's clearly been visiting the Cricbuzz studios as Sunil Narine because he's picked up the bug that's going around here. Right, here we go. There's the Kolkata playing.
Why they got Venkatesh Iyer up there? My gut feel was Rahane will go up so that you have a left and right. Then Moeen comes in 3.
But this is what we were talking about, that this is probably not the 11. This is not the order they're playing
This is the bowling 11. They'll get Angakrish Raghuvanshi to come in as the impact sub.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of left-handers. De Kock, Iyer, Rinku, Moeen. There's a lot of left-handers up there in the top 6.
Yeah.
Well, the top 6 will come in later. But, Dooley, when we look at this bowling, it's a very Indian-heavy bowling. They haven't really gone very heavy with the overseas players. So it's very Indian-heavy.
Yeah, and I don't mind that. I think, you know, we've talked a little bit on this show in the last couple of years. I think if you've got high-quality Indian batters, you're more likely to win this tournament.
Yeah, I agree.
I think I look at that and I think, you know, from an Indian bowling point of view, some good bowlers, but I think your overseas bowlers and your high quality Indian batters tend to win you more tournaments. So I look at that and I think, you know, they're going to rely heavily on those guys. Spencer Johnson has been probably the disappointment, I guess, from a wicket-taking point of view, inside the power play. He's got 1 wicket, I think, inside the power play in his IPL
8 games that he's played
history in 8 games. So when you think about what he does in other leagues around the world, he's a genuine wicket-taker. He's a guy they need to strike up front and quickly if they can do that. And if the others can just bowl in and around that power play, whether they use Moeen up front, whether they use him with a newish ball or not, it will save, I think, Chakravarti. I don't think he's a power play bowler. He's a very skillful bowler, but I think he prefers it when the ball's just slightly older and not quite as new.
Yeah. So let's look at that bowling side again. Spencer Johnson, Vaibhav Arora. They like Harshit Rana bowling through the middle and back.
But didn't they open? Harshit and Vaibhav opened the last game. So
yeah, so they'll open with Spencer Johnson, I think, if he's there anyway. So Spencer Johnson, Vaibhav Arora. Somewhere they've got to get Harshit Rana. And last year, Andre Russell was bowling a bit in the power play.
Yeah.
So they might have to get Andre Russell in the power play instead of Varun Chakravarti and then control the middle with Varun, hoping to take wickets with Varun and Moeen.
But it was surprising that he didn't bowl at all in the last
I was
game.
surprised,
It was very surprising because Russell picked up so many wickets in the last season. One would have expected him to bowl, but, well, he didn't.
I tell you, these new captains, I tell you.
You're always concerned about Russell's fitness, though.
No, the captain.
I know. Yeah, I know. I mean,
Well, let's quickly look at Rajasthan's
You can imagine
11.
that argument, can't you? Andre, I'm sorry. I'm sorry, but you're not bowling today, Andre.
This is the time we quickly move and look at Rajasthan's playing 11 before I get ragged here.
They have.
Oh, there it is. Hasaranga's in. Farooqi's out.
Farooqi out and Hasaranga in, which is understandable. That's their batting lineup. So just strengthens their batting a touch. Lefty at the top, and then Hetmeyer.
So they've got in the top 6,
isn't it?
Top 6, they've got 3 lefties, 3 right. Top 5, no, top 6, 3 lefties, 3 righties.
Yeah. So maybe Moeen will be an option early on if they want to as well. But Sanju was brilliant in the previous game. They just need more. Obviously, Rahane Parag having to captain the side in the field. That'll come later on. But there's plenty there right up to Wanendu Hasaranga. Although in the last year and a half, 2 years, his batting hasn't been what we thought it could get to at one stage.
Slogger, isn't it?
Yeah, it doesn't look the batter that he looked probably 2 or 3 years ago to me. He looked like a genuine all-rounder. I just think that's gone off the boil a little bit in the last couple of years.
I thought in the Sri Lankan league, I just go through scorecards sometimes. I thought he was batting 4 or 5 over there. But definitely if he's coming in at, 7?
7.
Yeah.
They'll expect runs from him at 7. Because if you want to adopt a very aggressive approach, then number 7 does come in. Do you remember the time when they used to say number 7 plays on an average 7 or 8 balls?
Yeah.
Because the top batters were accumulators. Now, if you're going to play that style, the SR8 style, or everyone plays that style, then number 7 is in the game.
Yeah.
Probably his number of deliveries are probably going to go up a lot more. That'll be an interesting one for us to keep a little bit of an eye on, because you're right, number 7 was down at 7 or 8 deliveries on average per game.
Yeah.
So it'll be interesting to see whether those numbers jump up a little bit with the impact and with the way that all the teams are actually going a lot harder.
But, well, the eyeballs are not only going to be on number 7 and what balls he gets to face, but all the eyeballs are going to be on the captain, Rahane Parag. Harsha, he gets back home. Do you think is that added pressure, or is it that thing of I want to show the crowd that I'm home and it's my homecoming? But do you think he's very young? Do you think it's added pressure?
I hope not. He's among the youngest captains in this tournament. Virat Kohli was probably even younger when he first became captain. But he's become a more mature player.
Yes.
In the last couple of years. Life teaches you after a while. It just, either you become mature at 19, 20, 22, 23, whatever. So I hope he's that. I hope he wants to bowl himself too.
Yes.
Because he bowls 15, 20 overs sometimes in Ranji Trophy cricket. So he's not just someone who turns his arm over. And that could well be needed because, I mean, they've got Nitish Rana there as backup, but he's got to come in and bowl. It's a huge occasion. I mean, I've been to Guwahati. I don't, Doull, you've been to Guwahati as well. For them, when big cricket comes there.
No real big sporting superstars have come out of Assam, have they?
No, and when the game goes there, the city just stops. It's huge when big cricket goes there. And then for one of their own to be captain of what is effectively their home franchise, it's a huge deal.
And also it just shows the kind of support the management has given Rahane Parag, because they've got him in front of Yashasvi Jaiswal. People would have imagined that Yashasvi would be their future captain.
Or even Nitish Rana, who's captain KKR.
KKR. But looking at the youth, one would imagine after Sanju, probably Yashasvi, but is he the future then?
Well, they've backed him. They've backed him for a long, long period of time. And even when I've had conversations in the last 2, 3, 4 years with anyone involved in the Rajasthan Royals setup about Rian Parag and about, I've been critical at times about his casual nature, his sort of over-the-top celebrations at times, his coolness that never really transferred. I thought last year he was brilliant, and he is maturing as a cricketer, and that's all you can ask. You can ask for maturity and improvement, and they've always backed him.
Yes.
They've always said, no, he's a really nice young man. He's a really good, he just sometimes maybe doesn't quite know how to portray himself or act at different times when things happen, but he is a really nice young man, and he is the future of this, this franchise. And they've thrown all their eggs in that basket for a long, long time because he underperformed in the first
2 or 3 years.
2 or 3 years.
Yeah.
Last year was a real breakout year for him. And it was great. It was great to see he batted with extreme maturity and obviously captaining Assam and doing a lot of bowling, a lot of batting, having to bring through quite an inexperienced group in that sort of team in Assam. They're not as widely regarded as many of the other associations around India, are they? And so having to bring a group of players through that he's nurturing at a young age is not easy. So they clearly see something in him and they've given him this chance. And look, it's a short-term chance. So there's not a lot he can do as far as changing a team or team dynamics. His job is really to score runs and to look after things in the field when he can.
They might get in, so the Royals are batting first.
We'll have a look at the impact subs because
they could get in Akash Madhwal to bowl, unless they want.
They've got Kumar Karthikeyan, they've got Akash Madhwal.
Now,
and
hang on, Rajasthan are batting.
Yes.
So they've normally used Shubham Dubey.
And he did well in the last game.
Phenomenally well. So this is an interesting one. So suppose they say, no, we'll go bang, bang, and put in Shubham Dubey in there as well. He'll bowl maybe an over or two here and there. And we're happy with the bowling that we've got. Because otherwise they can go either Karthikeyan to tackle the middle over spin problem for KKR, or if they think they still need a quicker bowler, they can go Akash Madhwal. So it'll be interesting to see how they go. I'm intrigued by the Shubham Dubey thing.
Yeah, because he got he was really hitting hard in that last game. So one would imagine that he'll get a place in the 11. We'll also quickly have a look at KKR's impact subs and see who they have coming in. Angrish Raghuvanshi, the clear choice.
I would imagine comes in as the batter, unless they want Manish Pandey, but they like Angrish very much.
I think that's a no-brainer, that one. It'd be very, very surprising if that didn't happen.
And there's Loveneet Sisodia. Loveneet Sisodia's claim to fame was he got injured midway through. He was replaced by Rajat Patidar in RCB, and his career suddenly just took off there.
Yes. But we chatted about Spencer a little bit, but they will really need him to come to the party because if he doesn't, then it's really bad news.
Yeah, look, I mean, you buy a guy like that as a wicket taker, genuine wicket taker. Death bowling is okay, but his claim to fame, his sort of the way he's made his name in the last 2 to 3 years has been taking wickets in the power play. Bowled beautifully in the Big Bash at times, great in the 100 in his first year, and just tight and swinging that new ball and taking wickets. And that's what you buy a big left arm quick for. So he needs to start putting performances back on the park or on the park for his team now.
But also, Harsha, someone like Spencer Johnson, is it just the flat tracks or is it something like we were chatting about that he needs to get his head around it and come and get those wickets because they need those wickets early on, which he's not getting.
And there are big boots to fill because that place was occupied by Mitch Starc. I know he didn't have a great first few games, but when it got tough, he did really well. Those are not great numbers because if you're averaging that high, at least you want the economy rates to be lower. He's 6 matches, 4 wickets. But I saw him bowl in the Champions Trophy. And he was moving the ball beautifully, but without a lot of control. So he's bowling well, but going for a lot of runs. So clearly there is something there. And they'd want the learning curve to continue. You can't just pull someone out after 1 over. But I'd like to see that team again. Who's going to bowl in the death for KKR? Yeah, who bowls at the death for KKR? Because sometimes you get Varun Chakravarti going deep. They like Harshit Rana bowling at the death. Yeah. They finish Vaibhav Arora. They tend to finish Arora up front with 3. So I don't know if they'll go back with Russell. They've got to find someone. So Spencer Johnson's got to come back and give him 1 or 2 overs at the back end.
But Andy Russ, Dooley, do you think he's someone that they will have to pin their hopes on? Because like you said, we don't know who's coming back and bowling in the death.
No, I think with Andre Russell, what you want from him each season is to win you 3 games with the bat. And if he can bowl, it's a bit of a bonus. You'd love to get an over or 2 out of him. He's got the ability to bowl with a newish ball, can swing the ball. He's just got heavy pace at times when he's 100% fit. And if he can bowl you 2 overs on average, if he bowls you 1 over on average a match, if he gets through 14 overs in the course of the 14 games, I actually think he's probably not done a bad job for you. And if he wins you 3 games with the bat, which is what he can do, that's kind of all you're asking from that. And it doesn't sound like a lot.
Yes.
But if everyone else around you can do a similar job and win you 1 game here or there, then that's all you're really looking for. But if he can bowl, then he obviously should be bowling.
But Harsha, I want to understand, what do you think Bharat Arun is chatting with these bowlers? Because it's not a bowler-friendly tournament, but we know what Bharat Arun's done with the Indian team. What do you think he's chatting with these?
And I think people like Arora and Harshit Rana will become better bowlers playing with Bharat Arun.
Yeah.
So he's got to be with them. By the way, if the tracks start to get slower as you go along, they could look back at Chetan Sakaria in case he's bowling well, because bringing him back has been a great story. But clearly, after yesterday's game, I think they have to go in with great plans. Yesterday was a tactical gem to get in Vaishak to bowl a particular kind of bowling. Everyone will be looking at stuff like that now and say, okay, we need to do something. But we'll wait and see in the first 2-3 overs. If there is something in this deck that, thank God there's something for us. But if there's nothing in the deck, they'll have to very quickly revert to, as Dooley said, maybe pack one side, bowl one side of the stump.
Yes.
It was very interesting what Arshdeep said yesterday about Vishak. He said the idea was, doesn't matter if you have to err on the side of the wide, not on the side of the inside of the track, because that will give Rutherford the space to hit the ball. So they'll have to work out something, and I think Dooley's right. Find some ways of ensuring you're hitting to one side. These days, everyone plays left and right, so it's
and
not
the
easy.
swaps and those, you don't know where it's going. But when you talk about tactics, there's one tactic that they're going to come out with, and that's bowling short to Yashasvi Jaiswal, because the numbers have been doing the talking. He's gotten out, I think, like 13 times to short ball. So clearly that's going to be a strategy to Jaiswal.
Yeah, and they targeted him in Australia. They tried to target him in Australia as well. In at the ribs, it's sort of the uncomfortable line. And what left-handers find it difficult with a right-arm bowler is just that they sort of always say they've got a bit of a blind spot. And you look at those numbers, 13 wickets short, 6 on the good, 7 very full. So he obviously has struggled a little bit, just in and under the armpit. And all left-handers, talk to Matthew Hayden about it, actually. I kind of trying to understand why they struggle. And he just said it's a really weird one, but you just have a little blind spot as a left-hander if you're quite square on. There's just a little blind spot in here when it comes into your ribs. And that's what left-handers find a little bit more difficult. Does he have to get a little bit squarer? So get the eyes a little bit more like that rather than...
A little more two-eye, do you think?
Yeah, a little bit more two-eye. Just open up a little bit more. And just so he's getting his line right. And then just a little tuck off the hips rather than getting too square. But when you get too square on, then the other side becomes a bit of an issue. You can't quite reach. I mean, you're not Shivnarine Chanderpaul, where you're crabbing across your crease all the time. So one problem to fix can create another. But I think they will target him. If there's any pace and bounce in the surface, they will certainly try and target that rib cage.
There's something interesting on the pitch report that's just come in. Darren Ganga, Shane Watson are on the pitch report. Surface is a little dry. No, surface is dry, not a lot of grass cover. Wicket will dry up and slow down, and the dew factor will be significant, but it's starting out a little dry.
Okay.
And no grass.
You should expect more turn in.
Hopefully something. Maybe grip also. If it just grips a little.
Yes.
Yeah, even for the slower balls. Yeah.
I mean, you've got a bowler like Rashid Khan. Batter's not to the pitch of the ball, not in the hitting arc. He just goes through with the bat swing and hits it for 6, which means he's getting nothing off the deck. Nothing off the deck. So even if it doesn't turn, even if it grips a little bit, then the bowlers will come.
Yeah. But I, again, wanted to chat. We were talking about it before the show started. Yashasvi Jaiswal, I'd imagine, has played a lot of cricket because he's just the star Indian batter. But when you look at the numbers, the last T20 he played was, in July 24?
Yeah.
So he's not played a lot of cricket.
Actually, India, because they were playing a lot of test match cricket last year, all those who were playing test cricket didn't actually get to play a lot of T20. It might be different this year, but the competition is such that once you're out for a while, suddenly there's 3 others in there. So how do you leave out Abhishek Sharma? How do you leave out Tilak Varma, who's gone and done everything that's been asked of him? But on the short ball as well, look, he's seen the numbers too. The great thing about all these numbers we're putting up is the bowlers see those, but the batters have seen those too. And if you're a clever batter, you're looking at those numbers and saying, okay, if I was bowling to myself, where would I bowl?
Yes.
So now what do I do? So I'd be very keen to see them go short at him because I want to see what his response as a proper test batter, as an intelligent batter, is going to be to their approach.
Well, look at what Shreyas has done.
Yeah.
Yes.
I mean, Shreyas really struggled with it. Now, I still don't see him as a good player of the short ball, but he's worked out a way to play it. And that,
Look at some of the numbers.
I know.
Yeah, the numbers when they're bowling short to him are significantly better now than
what they were last
Which
year.
is credited to domestic cricket because
Absolutely.
he's gone out, done the hard yards, and even Yashasvi before the Australia tour, he really, so like you said, they're seeing these numbers.
Yeah.
So he said that I know it is a weakness, but I will work on it. And that's what he did before the Australia series. I'm just very intrigued with how they practice. Apparently, there was like this cement slab that they had put, and they bowled in like 200 overs to him just short. So what is it? Is it just for the height that they get
well, the
cement?
pace and the height. So what we used to use something like this, basically, just a really hard, rock-hard, shiny board. And you could start at full pace with just tennis balls, just so you're getting used to the movement and where it's coming and all those things. And you can move to cricket balls after that. But if you get a nice, hard, shiny board, like imagine if you're at home and you want to practice some short ball, an old door and paint it with some satin paint and then just skid the ball off the satin paint door. If you haven't got a flat surface, find an old door somewhere, go and steal someone's door. And just paint it with a nice satin surface and just throw, and you can wet tennis balls.
Yes.
Yeah, red
Dip tennis balls in a bucket. Throw them into something like this and just work on that short ball. It's not going to hurt anywhere near as much, but it just gets you used to the movement and what you have to face.
Well, you
With
said...
Shreyas, you know what else happened? Because everybody now knows you've got to bowl short to him, every Ranji Trophy match he turned up in, whoever the bowler was, little kid from somewhere interior of India, was coming in and banging the ball short, which I think might actually have helped him because he got
so much of it.
He got a lot of it in a match situation, knowing that if I get out, it's the last ball. So he actually ended up helping him.
Yeah. Well, let's hope that Yashasvi comes out and counter-attacks because when he gets going, he's just such a beautiful sight to watch. So, is he your player to watch out for today, Yashasvi?
I had Sanju Samson.
You had Sanju Samson. And for you, who's your player to watch out for?
I'm just going to go through these sides. Look, in RR, I think Rian Parag. I just want him to... From a runs point of view, runs are his currency. You know, the C beside the name does not matter when they're batting.
Correct.
It's all about runs. He's got to score runs like he did last year for them. If he does that, when he walks out onto the field to captain the side in the field, he will feel so much better about himself and about the job he's got to do. And another guy who sort of struggled a little bit, Venkatesh Iyer.
Yes.
The other side. You know, I look at guys that need to perform. That need to show something to maybe just remind you how good. I mean, 2 years ago you thought Venky Iyer, Indian side, the world was at his feet. He struggled to get in Vaughan in my third team now.
Well, he's got in the big bucks though. He's got in the big bucks.
And that's exactly what's going to happen. If he doesn't score runs in the first three, I bet my last dollar, and my last dollar doesn't go as far as Dooley's does.
What? It's a long way into that bank to find your last dollar. You've got to sift through a fair pile to find your last dollar, Harsh.
I might have walked into it a little bit, but it's okay. But I can bet that the stats will start coming out. How much he's getting paid per run he scores, how much he's getting paid per ball, all that will start coming out. So it's a fair point. He scores runs. It's important for the side, of course, but it's just important for him and everyone else just to say...
Calm down.
Look, he didn't ask for the money.
No.
But it's impossible to say it doesn't matter. Everyone will tell you, look, you didn't ask for it, doesn't matter. It's impossible to say that. And he's still very young by money standards, he's young.
Yes.
By playing standards may not be so.
Well, we've seen how the pressure gets to people when they get the big bucks, but the pressure is going to get to us now. We don't get the big bucks to answer this question.
Well, some act in the movies, some don't.
We have to answer the question which we don't get paid for. This international cricketer featured for 6 franchises in the Indian T20 League, starting with Chennai in 2010, but won his only player of the match with Hyderabad.
So
Name him. The Hyderabadi in the house has to have the answer to this.
I'm just trying to think someone who's
got that.
someone who's gone round and round and got a player of the match playing for Hyderabad.
Yeah.
You know it already.
Yeah.
Okay.
You're on the ball, Dooley,
No, I'm
because
just
he
trying
got
to
the
think.
last one
Well,
as
the
well.
six franchises gives it away. I
Yes.
mean, there's not too many people playing tonight's game.
What is he playing today?
He always
No,
has
that's
someone
not
who's
his game.
involved in
Yeah.
today's game.
Or someone who's involved today. So
Or
the
today.
only reason I'm thinking today is that there's a Kiwi who got 5 for 22 today.
Or like on this date.
On today,
Oh.
playing for New
Today.
Zealand against Pakistan. So I'm just trying to think whether it's someone like a
Don't think
Jimmy
he had
Bishop who
6
went round and
franchises,
round
did he?
and round and round.
Don't
So
know
I'm
whether
trying
he
to
had
wonder-
6 franchises, did he?
I don't know. Anyway, you think you've got
think-
the answer, sir.
All right, we'll think about this because Jaiswal has been bowled a short ball and he's hit a 4. So we should
Okay.
quickly get
All right,
going
so we're gonna
and
get
see what he
our scores
does.
in.
So let's
Okay.
do our predictions quickly. We let the bullseye master go first.
Correct.
Oh, okay.
I called him yesterday and I didn't
And
get the
you
right
asked
answer.
Righto, sluggish, unlucky for Australia. I'll go 187.
202.
187202. I'm going
155.
176.
Oh,
Okay.
big gap.
For other reasons, of course, but
Okay.
I'll go with 176.
No, I thought you'll say Royal scored 202, KKR 203 for no loss.
Well, I just don't like pressure on me as a spectator because that's how I am. But, well, we'll give you all the updates in our Cricbuzz Combox at the 10 over point. Thank you so much for watching. Voltas FreshAir Coolers presents Cricbuzz Live. We will see you all very, very soon.
दिल्ली में आपका स्वागत
ನಿಲ್ದಾಣದ ಕಡೆಗೆ ಹೊರಟಿರುವ ರೈಲನೆ
Hyderabad Express, Rajasthan Station, Netaji Road.